Hi guys, it is Mandy from Mandyleeplays, and in this video I'm going to share with you guys all the games that I beat so far in the last few months. I'm pretty proud of myself because I beat a total of 5 games, which is a stark contrast from my last one, which was 4 games. So I leveled up a bit, as they say. But before we begin, if you end up liking this video, then please hit that like button. It's a small little button that helps a video out a lot. And if you end up loving my videos and want to see more, then please consider subscribing if you're not yet subscribed. That is it for the preamble. Let's go on to the list of JRPGs that I've conquered in the past few months. The first one on the list is Dragon Quest, the HD 2D remake. Now this is a game that I was very excited to play, mainly because I love the graphic style. It's very pretty, and I really don't have that much experience playing a Dragon Quest game. The only one I played was Dragon Quest 11 and I loved it. So when they announced the Dragon Quest HD 2D remake, I was very excited. I completed this game in February, and this is my second game that I beat this year. Off the bat, I would say the Switch version is really good, and plus a lot of remakes of older games just feel very natural on the Switch. It's a very portable game experience kind of vibe. The story of Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake revolves around the protagonist Outrp, and he is on a quest to defeat the wicked fiend Baramos, who threatens to destroy the world. So while the story did leave me feeling a bit disappointed, I still powered through it and it was pretty good at times. But when it comes to gameplay, it was really fun. The job system is honestly the real star of this game. So essentially you get to build your own party from scratch, like a retro fantasy version of a character creation. Though the sacrifice in this is your party members don't really have any characterization. And that is pretty weird because JRPG side characters are known to pick up the slack of the silent protag, but the side characters in these games are not really helping the cause. There are a ton of classes in this game, like warrior, mage, priest, and the merchant. And they also added a new class, which is the monster wrangler. I didn't use monster wrangler, so I don't really know what it does, but given the name, it probably has something to do with monsters. The classes are huge in this game, and it plays a big role on how you approach the combat and exploration. And there's also an ability to respec your characters later on around level 20. I really tried to experiment with different party members and different classes, but I always had a warrior with me and a mage. Overall, I really did like Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. I really love the gameplay, the retro vibe, and the way it looks. I love the HD 2D art style. I've always had and I always will. But the one aspect that really got me down was the story. The story was pretty boring, and it really doesn't help that your protagonist and party members don't really say much of anything. But overall, I really did like my experience. If I were to grade it, I would give it a C. A solid C. And now I can't wait for Dragon Quest 1 HD 2D remake and Dragon Quest 2 HD 2D remake. And if you guys don't know, the reason why they went ahead and released 3 instead of the other 2 is because 3 is a prequel, so it flows better if you play the third one and then go to the first one and the second one. Now, keeping in theme with the whole retro vibe, the second game I played was Ys the Oath of Felghana, and that one was one of the most surprising games I've played this year. Oath of Felghana is the third game that I beat this year. I beat it on February 21st. I picked up this game because I wanted to try it a bit, and I needed a buffer between 2 other games, so I plopped it on my Switch, and it was really addicting. Now, going in, I did not know this game was really short. It took me around 16 plus hours to beat the game. And if you know JRPGs, that is insanely short, but man, was it refreshing. But before I get ahead of myself, here's a little history about Oath of Felghana. The version I played was Ys Oath of Felghana Memoire, which is the remastered version of Oath of Felghana that came out on the PSP way back in 2010. And that one was a remake of Ys 3, which came out in 1989. So Ys Oath of Felghana Memoire is the best version of the game, unless you want to dig up an old 1989 copy of the game. As you know, the Ys games are presented out of order, so what might be considered the 10th game in the series is actually the 3rd chronologically. It's a bit weird, especially if you're new to the series, but just know that each game is kind of its own isolated adventure. Oath of Felghana in this case covers one of the earlier adventures for Adolf Christen, Now, Adolf Kristen is pretty iconic, especially with his red hair. In this story, we get to visit Dogi's hometown. Dogi is basically Adolf Kristen's companion throughout all his adventures. Quickly, you get involved into drama, Dogi's old friends, the new mayor, governor, and a little bit of the supernatural history. But what was supposed to be a very fast detour turns into a whole nother adventure, which Adolf really loves. He loves adventuring a lot. And the story itself is very streamlined and compact because the game is really short, but I felt like it was a really nice bite-sized adventure. There wasn't really that much fluff, and there was hardly side quests or things like that. It was just the main story and getting to the bottom of the mysteries. The story gets to the point. And after finishing Dragon Quest III, I kinda needed a game like that. And I'm not knocking the more recent, longer style Ys games, but I kinda like the more shorter ones too. Now, when it comes to the gameplay, that's what got me hooked. It is really fun and addicting. So while this is still a JRPG, it has a very action-oriented gameplay, which was kind of rare when it first came out. A lot of games back then were turn-based. There's not a lot to it, but in this case, less is more. Adolf only has a handful of different items, and you could also do different sword techniques or magic. For me, the game wasn't really that hard, but the bosses were kind of brutal for some reason. But you just go outside, grind a bit, and then go back in, bada bing, bada boom. Though some of them do have gimmicks. The responsive gameplay feels very fluid, and there's also a little bit of platforming, though it's nothing too bad. And there is some strategy to it. It's not just hack and slash all the time. There are precise movements, and I could confidently say this game is worth your time. If I were to give a grade for this, I would give it a B+. Editing Mandy here. Upon further reflection, I would like to give this game an A. Highly recommend, and I absolutely adored it. Let's move on to the next game, and that is for Atelier Yumia. Oh, I've been waiting a long time to talk about this game. I beat it on March 21st, and I also got the Platinum Trophy. This game was given to me as a code by Koei Tecmo, so thank you, Koei Tecmo. Now, I'm going to try to keep this concise because I do want to do a more retrospective video for it in the future. So I won't go into all the nitty-gritty about it, but I will gush about how I love this game so much. I wouldn't say it's my favorite in the series. That one still is for Rise of 3, but it is definitely close second. And to put into perspective how big and grand this game is, I spent a total of 75+ hours playing Atelier Yumia. Obviously, you could beat the game in a shorter time. I just took longer because I was trying to get the platinum. Now, there's no doubt that I love this game a lot, but of course, it's not perfect because I do have some gripes when it comes to this game, mainly being the gameplay. The gameplay was a little bit too boring and repetitive. You don't really learn new skills. Now, you do get different party members that do different things, but they don't really get to unlock different skills either. So you're kind of just doing the same thing. Though there are some good things about the gameplay. I love the animations. It looks fantastic and fluid. So much flashy attacks. It just felt a little bit boring for my taste. Another reason, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but you level up really fast. I was early in the 3rd area and I was already level 100. That is insane. My second con is no English voice acting. I will stand on this hill. Can we have English voice acting back in Atelier games, please? Another gripe I had, building mechanic. I wanted to love it a lot, but it just wasn't clicking with me. It's a big mess, and I feel like if they really want to bring the building aspects out, they're gonna need to change a lot of things. Now, thankfully, they have pre-built blueprints, so you don't really have to mess with the building all too much. But other than that, I love the game so much. As for the story, there were parts that had me gagged. Like, I had no words. They really went all out to make this story feel more impactful than your run-of-the-mill slice of life stories that we've seen in previous Atelier games. Like, I was surprised. Atelier Yumia takes place in a world that treats alchemy as a taboo. Yumia joins the exploration team tasked with exploring the Aldesian Empire, which fell many years ago due to alchemy. And that's really what impacted a lot of people to look at alchemy as a taboo, though some people still do practice it, like Yumia and her mother. I love the story direction so much. It's very serious, but there are times where it's very lighthearted with your traditional Atelier character development. But essentially, the whole plot of the game is researching and exploring different areas to gain more information about the Aldesi Empire. there and what went wrong. A big part of this game is exploration, and that's honestly my favorite part of the game. And the first thing you will notice if you zoom out a bit is the world is very massive. There are a lot of different areas. They don't really show it because it's all clouded. I kind of knew this game was going to be a massive game, so I wasn't really surprised, but wow, I got really excited when I saw that map. So you're part of the pioneering research team, and one of those tasks is exploring different areas and gathering different informations. They really went all out with a big world that you get to explore and have fun with, and I would oftentimes drop the main story for a bit and just explore. And it was generally fulfilling when I 100% each area. The alchemy system for Atelier Yumia is very slimmed down. There's not a lot of different items as opposed to previous Atelier games, which is fine. And honestly, they did a lot with the items that we did get. Though besides the gripes of how long it takes to make everything, the alchemy system is really fun. Although I was pretty confused at first, I did get the hang of it and I just ended up loving it. I am eager to see where the series goes from here. Talking about games with long series, my next game I beat is Yakuza Like a Dragon. This is a streaming series, so I streamed all the different parts. If you want to watch it, I'm going to put a link to the playlist in the description. And thank you guys who were there every step of the way, or if you just watched the VOD, I do appreciate the support when it comes to my streaming series. I beat this game on April 6th, so I am still digesting this game and all of its emotions. If I were to simplify everything of this game, it would be, can Ichiban catch a break? This dude cannot catch a break. Ichiban is thrown down so many times, but he does seem to get back up and do better. I really love that about his character. Also, he loves JRPGs, especially Dragon Quest. Most of the interactions throughout the adventure, he sees it through a JRPG lens, which is really cool because he's in a JRPG thinking about another JRPG. There's so much things I want to say about the story. There's also a political tone to the game. I'll be careful with this, I won't get too political, but I could see a lot of parallels of that in our real world. But don't worry, political stuff is not shoved up your butt in this game. It is done really tastefully. The turn-based system, I really don't know how to feel about it. At the end of the day, I really did like it, though it's not my favorite for the game. Mainly because it didn't feel as natural and it felt like every encounter was a slog. And when I say there's a lot of enemies everywhere, there's a lot of enemies everywhere. And while I did get used to it, especially towards the end, I felt like it could have been a little bit more than it was. Now there is different variety because of the job system, though I didn't really change jobs all that much. That's probably my fault, so I won't judge it on that. There's a lot of different customizable things you could do. I just wanted to be boring, so everybody was doing the same job. But yeah, not my favorite combat, but it was still really enjoyable. Your side characters are the best. I love all the homies in the group. They come from different walks of life with different things going on, and there's a lot of side content. Not all the side content is the same, but a majority of them are actually really good, and most of all very funny. I love how Yakuza games don't take themselves seriously at one point, but then they get too serious at another point. And like every Yakuza game, there is also a big side game with it. Yakuza 0, it was the cabaret club, but in Yakuza Like a Dragon, it is a full-on tycoon system, which I did get to the top, and that's how I got most of my money in the game. Bottom line, I really loved Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's not as good as Yakuza 0. I might have some bias goggles on that one, but it is really good and really fun. So with that one being out of the way, hopefully I get to see what all the hype is about with Yakuza Infinite Wealth. I'm probably not gonna play for a while, but I'm excited to tackle it. Now the next one is gonna be a little bit quick, mainly because I'm still playing it and it's not really over per se. So the next one on the list is Monster Hunter Wilds Low Rank Quest. How Monster Hunter works is essentially there's a low rank story mode and a high rank story mode. I beat the low rank story mode. I love that Capcom is making an effort to put more stories in their Monster Hunter game, though it's not really executed as seamlessly, but they're trying. One of the highlights is the game is no longer set with different zones. It's actually a fully open world game. Every new area is somewhat connected to the previous area, so it feels just like a big world. Also, this game looks beautiful. Performance wise, it's okay. I keep mine on performance mode and I'm okay with that. As for the gameplay, it's Monster Hunter. Gameplay is king. It is very fun. I can't wait to see more monsters in this game. My main complaints though is that the game could be optimized a little bit better, and there's a lot of menu hopping you have to do, especially with online play. I to this day still don't know how to confidently run online play. There's so many different steps. And there's so many things that sound the same. Monster Hunter has been doing online since like its inception, so I'm surprised that they haven't gotten that down pat at this point. I mean, recently we just got the Grand Hub, which is the hub for all your friends. And it's still really weird. I don't know why. So that is it for the video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. It was a bit longer one because I was going through the games I beat, and I beat a lot of games. Games are getting more expensive to the day, and if you want to get the most out of your game, beat it. So please tell me what you guys beat in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. Hit that like button if you like, and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. So without further ado, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, and as always, play a good game. Peace, peace.